Hi everyone, I'm Janvi, and I hope you all are well. And today I just thought of going live. It's Thanksgiving break, so in America, Thanksgiving is something that most people celebrate. They go visit family, and in my university, we have the whole week off. So generally, there is a semester break in the middle of the semester. So we have 2 semesters, and so this is the semester break also included in the Thanksgiving break. So I'm here. I hear a lot of. I get a lot of messages from students and a lot of other people. So I thought it's just best to go live and answer your questions live. And so I'm here. Hi, Bhumi. I'm gonna try to open this also on my laptop so I can have a look at it while I can look at the comments while I'm talking to you. Um, Hi. Yeah, so I'm here happy to answer any of the questions. I'm good. How are you? I want to, yeah, I want to talk about anything that feels relevant to you. I think the first thing that I want to start with is people who've been trying to reach out and asking me about online sessions or therapy sessions. I would recommend Prafulta, which is in, um, I mean, I know the one in Mumbai, and they have some really good experienced therapists. I was a psychologist, I mean, therapist in India, but after coming to America, I don't see clients, not in India. I I'm only a student here, so I only do my practicum. Practicum is basically you know before internship as a student, where I'm just seeing clients under the supervision of a licensed provider. So yeah, this year I'm working with refugee population, and I am excited to do different places next year onwards. Okay. Any community about living in Bombay? Oh yeah, I had earlier made a Patreon group, but I stopped after I came here. But I do have the group still on. I mean, at first um, I used to get involved in different things that, I mean, I used to do workshops once a month for people who are part of Patreon community. But now I mean, I think it's pretty much free. I just want to make sure that I don't want any spammers to get through. So if you send me an email on, I made a new account called studentsconnectwithme@gmail.com, and just trying to, and I mean, I try to see as many emails as I can. But yeah, because it's free and I want to make sure that there is some proof of your identity before I add you in that group so you can join the group and connect with other students. I just am personally not involved with it anymore, but I'm happy to connect you with other students. Can you share the names of some BSc psychology colleges? Um, from what I know, Mumbai doesn't have. I mean, I know more about colleges in Mumbai. There are lots of colleges in um, south of India which offer BSc psychology. I have made a video on BSc versus BA in psychology, speaking about the difference, and I think that has. I mean, in that I do speak of the university of the person who shared her experiences BSc in psychology. So I think that video can give you a clue and then help you know what to search for when you look for BSc colleges. Um, Good morning, Iowa City. It's 10:04 a.m. right now, Iowa City. So, can you see some psychology BA colleges in India in Pune? Well, recently, someone told me that they were doing uh, symbiosis in Pune, and to me, that course sounded really good. So, I think symbiosis is really amazing, especially if you're in the liberal arts college. They have like a 4 year course. It's pretty much like the US undergraduate college system. So I think symbiosis is good. And then if you go to that place, then I will highly recommend a big history course, which is by it's taught, at least it used to be taught by an American professor. Uh, brilliant. And so I would definitely recommend that course if you're doing that. Okay. Here I have the comments on the laptop, so it's going to be easier. Yeah, other BA colleges in India, I would say, like looking at Mumbai, Delhi, Bangalore is good. So, I mean, obviously, colleges like Lady Shri Ram are excellent. St. Xavier's College, where I studied, Mumbai, St. Xavier's Mumbai was also good. There are other colleges I've heard are pretty good, like in Mumbai, like KC is good. Um, yeah, I mean, personally, not heard a lot of good experiences from some other very well-known famous colleges. So what I would also try to do is try to connect with students. In America, this is a very nice system that I learned, is people just directly connect with students from that university and ask them their personal experiences. So, and I have also had some students who've reached out to me about my colleges and asking me about how my college experience has been. So I think that would be a good way to know which is a good college. Which is better, undergraduate from India or any foreign universities to be a clinical psychologist in India? It's a very good question. If you want to be a psychologist in India, I will highly recommend doing everything from India, especially in a field like psychology where you're practicing. You need a license and you need to be practicing and seeing clients. It's best to do it from the country you want to practice in, because it gives you, I mean, there are so many requirements. I know some. It doesn't, firstly, going abroad will mean you're spending about 1 to 1.5 crores on BA. BA is generally not funded. MA also can be less expensive than BA, but still not funded. Only a PhD generally is fully funded. So, firstly, very, very, very expensive. And then, obviously, when you come back to India and get paid in the Indian wages, it's very hard to repay it back. I know of people who even did a BA in India, then went to do a master's in London, and then coming back to India, and it may not fit in with the requirements. To get licensing, you need a certain requirement. So, if you want to practice in India, very, very highly recommend. Also, undergraduate colleges in India are pretty good. I think they do a great job. I studied in St. Xavier's College, and I wouldn't trade in to, like, I think it was a great experience. Wonderful college. I've known students from other colleges like Lady Shri Ram, and I'm like, wow, they have a great curriculum. So they're pretty good. Master's college, I think, can be better in India, but bachelor's, BA level colleges are really good for arts, in my opinion. Let's see. Planning next September intake for my abroad studies, but still baffled whether I should opt Europe or America. Well, interesting. It depends on what you're studying. With Europe, I would see what you want to do in the future and which place is giving you better scholarships, better opportunities to work after you finish your education, and also which, yeah. So, in some places in Europe, language can be a barrier, whereas America is pretty, yeah, I mean, language is not so much of a barrier. So, depends on what you want to do. Yeah. Which of psychology subfields pays the most? Industrial, counseling, clinical? That's a very good question. I would say, huh, this is something one of my professor used to say, is counseling psychologists have maximum number of offers, and industrial psychologists can get paid more because they work corporate jobs. Although I was a counseling psychologist working in a corporate, and that was good. So you don't, again, that depends. You could be a, I'm just gonna put this light off, it's bothering me. Okay. Yeah. I think, yeah, because it's becoming brighter in the day outside. It was not so bright when I started. It becomes dark at 5 o'clock here. Anyways, so, yeah, I think depends on you and your skills. Anything could be paying you well, as long as, yeah, it depends on your competence and where you're placed. So, mm, yeah, I think, again, it depends on, an industrial psychologist can also have a huge range of pay. Counseling psychologists can also have a huge difference of what they're getting paid, right? Unfortunately, it could be as little as 15,000 for a part-time kind of a job. Sometimes people even offer that for a full-time, and it could go in a few lakh rupees. So yeah, I think I don't have a straight answer for that. New India origin UK PM eases visa processes, and UK plans to give 3,000 student visa, which is really good step for students who want to go to UK. Yeah, that's good because UK can have, yeah, I've had most of the people I know who went to UK ended up coming back. So yeah. Do you know anything about liberal arts? Can you share some details? I mean, I don't know so much about liberal arts. However, I do know that because I haven't done a course, but I know a number of people. And like I said, this American professor, he was in Symbiosis School of Liberal Arts, SSLA, in Pune. So from what I have known from them and heard from them and heard from friends that are in liberal arts is that it pretty much is similar to US university where it's 4 years of education, where you take multiple courses from different streams. So even if you want to do psychology, you can do something like big history. Big history is basically um, it includes it's a history of everything. It includes from big bang. So because history was generally set from one perspective, for example, we study Indian history, but big history would include literally everything from big bang to story of the universe and a lot of other subfields. So I think it helps to give like a more interdisciplinary and outside perspective. So the advantage with liberal arts is you get a lot of those opportunities. It's not like a fixed and more options for subjects that you choose, as compared to what I had. So a lot of the students had more opportunities to know, like to pick different courses, whereas in BA when I came, like you do have options, but it's a fixed course structure that you have to go through this, and you have to take these three compulsory courses and then three subjects. I've made a whole video on BA, so I think you can see that. Although it's a good idea, I can make a video on liberal arts with someone who has done college there and go through everything like each year and the steps of it. Yeah, do I take therapy sessions in India? I started with this. I just said in a, yeah, a lot of people have been asking me. I don't take any sessions in India anymore because now I'm in America. So I am, yeah, I'm only seeing I'm just a student here. I'm a psychologist in India, but again, since I'm here, I'm full-time student and also F1 visa, which restricts me to work. So but I would recommend places like Profulta if people think about therapy. A lot of people have been asking how much, like, which are good places for therapy. So, how many marks are required in 12th to get admission in BA psychology? Um, I mean, it depends on college. Some colleges will take you with 50%. Some colleges might require you 98%, like St. Xavier's, Lady Shri Ram. These are very high cutoff percentages. What I would say is definitely apply to many colleges. The online system, especially if you're in Mumbai University, you have to give at least 10 names. And so I would definitely apply to a college where at least I can guaranteed get an admission. What entrance should we crack for admission in BSc psychology? Huh. This is not the best question for me because I know that this new thing has come up and I have not known anybody who has cracked or like who's preparing for that exam. So, um, yeah, sorry, I don't know anything about that. How much pay scale get raised for a counseling psychologist after some experience? Since beginning level, it's just 40 to 50K per month. I would say it's not even 40 to 50K sometimes for some people. So, I mean, again depends. Like I know people who are in private practice taking $1,500 an hour, 1,500 rupees an hour. Sorry. So it takes, yeah. So depends. Eventually, then if you have clients, they take you to other clients, and then there are other clients, and so it just totally depends. Yeah, but in a job position, I personally thought, I mean, yeah, the general is like 30,000, and then just like every other job, there will be a certain percent of wage increase every year. That is what it is in general. But I think if you are, I mean, if you start off at a different level because you're really good at what you do, you can get better pay. And you can get better raises. Again, it all depends on you. Procedures to get in a US college for masters in psychology. The entrance exam means GP exam, so explain. Okay. For masters in psychology abroad, you mean GRE? Yeah. So to study abroad for a masters in psychology, you will have to go on the website of. I mean, it depends on college to college. So some colleges will offer you admission just based on your mark sheets. So, but some colleges will require you to take the GRE exam. So GRE, although it's not compulsory for every college anymore, but colleges that require, so TOEFL is compulsory for every college. TOEFL is an English language, so it has like essay, speaking, listening, and writing test. And I mean, if you've studied in a English speaking school, um, I think you should be able to do that. I mean, just with a little practice, you can get a good enough grade on that. So TOEFL is compulsory. GRE can be more like you might need more time to study for it. Technically, these exams are supposed to be aptitude exams, so not requiring you to study. But because it requires some maths and English, a lot of people do end up studying. So depending on the college, a lot of colleges don't require GRE anymore, but GRE may be required for some colleges. So if the college you want to apply for requires a GRE, then you need to start looking into. GRE has some dates in the year, and then you need to give it on those dates and get your scores by then. And then your GPA, basically your university, your admission. And so in America, they look at three things. One is your letters of recommendation, one is your mark sheets and your basically your transcripts, and the last thing is your statement of purpose. So these are the three main things they look at: your statement of purpose, your letters of recommendation, your mark sheets, and obviously your resume, CV. So these are the things that you support. And then additionally, any if they require a GRE, then what are your GRE grades? And some colleges may also require a psychology for GRE. So GRE also has a psychology section, so they might require that. Can you apply for psychology in 11th and 12th? Oh my gosh, don't spam. Where can I apply for? Okay, okay. Where can you apply for? You can get psychology in 11th and 12th if your college offers it. I know that a lot of colleges in India don't offer it, but Mumbai does offer it, so you can definitely get it in Mumbai, in a lot of colleges in Mumbai, like Mithibai or Xavier's or KC, Ruya. I think a lot of these colleges offer, most of good colleges, no, that's fine, offer Mumbai. Can I do MD, PhD both simultaneously? Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. At least in America, they have a good integrated MD, PhD program. The advantage of it is if you do only MD, it's very expensive. You have to pay out of pocket. But if you do MD, PhD, then it's funded throughout. Uh, yeah. So you can do it. It's like, yeah, you can do, but obviously, I run a I facilitate a medical student support group here in America, in my university. So I'm learning. I mean, I don't have a lot of direct experience, but I'm learning from what their experience is. From students who are from MD, PhD joint programs, I learned that it's a long program, and yeah, it's a lot, but it's fully paid, so that's the advantage. Okay, let me see. I might have missed some questions. You're confused about your career, what to do after 12th arts. That's a good question. After 12th arts, I mean, honestly, with 12th, there's nothing much. So you have to do a BA or something. BA depends, I mean, it depends on what you do. Honestly, people say, oh, आज के ज़माने में कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता, you can do any arts stream and it doesn't matter, which is not true. Arts stream, there are, like, even in America, I see a lot of degrees have more job opportunities than some other degrees. So you can see what you want to do. Again, if you're very passionate about something, there are jobs out there. Like, for example, I'm very passionate about English literature, then you can do English literature and then masters in literature, become a professor, teach, or things like that. Some people like to do B.Ed, some people want to do special education, which is a new stream and so much in demand. You could do something like psychology. With art stream, people also end up doing law or UPSC or those fields, so political science. So depends on what you want to do. If you want to be a professor, if you want to, yeah, again, like, unfortunately, there is so much competition in India that whatever you choose to do, like people say, oh, does psychology have a good future? It does, but there is still a lot of competition. So it has a good future if you, unfortunately, not every person who graduates has a job. So I think it also depends on you. So how can I study? I want, but I can't. Okay, again, I'm not taking any therapy sessions, sorry, but I would recommend Prafulta in Mumbai. I am in America, and I don't take clients from India anymore. Yeah, for several reasons. Firstly, I don't have the time. I'm doing a PhD here. I see clients here. Also, we are in a different country. Ethics, I mean, I can't see people when I'm located in a different country altogether. Although, yeah, and other things, like I'm a fun student, so I don't do any work outside of just what I'm doing here in the US. I'm really sorry. That's why, I mean, I don't do therapy sessions, but I do. I mean, I try to do these live sessions where I just answer student questions, because I know that I had a lot of questions nobody answered. Like I was telling my professors a few days ago that in India, sometimes when you send an email to a college about any question related to admission, you never get a response. Like it's very common. And here in America, there are so many resources, people who answer your questions. So I just come here to answer questions, to answer as many questions as I can. Career opportunities in India after MD, PhD abroad. Again, I would say that if you're doing MD, I mean, if you want to stay in India, it would be best to learn in India, because there's a certain way of, I mean, two systems can be so different. That's my personal opinion, is it would be best to, so that's why I did my master's in India in psychology. So I know how it works. I have known a lot of students, international students, who just come directly after 12th standard abroad, and they only know how to do therapy in American standards. Now, if they want to do it back in China, they don't know how to do it, right? So I think similar with MD, PhD. Although, yeah, definitely. I mean, people who come from India here after doing MD, PhD, or like even MD, are very valued. And similarly, I think it would be a very unique experience. I have heard of someone, like, I know of someone, I don't know them personally, but they had done their education abroad, were a psychiatrist, and then came back to India and were excellent in their practice. So there definitely is that, again, but it also, yeah, I would just, here also, for example, at my university, the reason why they don't accept international students is because they want doctors to stay here and they want them to practice here. A lot of students do end up, but there will be other universities. So completely depends on you. If you want to gain that unique sort of an experience, take it back home, you would be one of those unique people. So as long as it's funded, I think I would still be more. But obviously, if it's not funded and if you're paying out of pocket, medical school, I've heard, is puts you in a lot of debt, especially if you're doing something like MD. So in that case, not sure. What, you go outside India and yeah, I mean, I don't understand your question. I think the, yeah, the advantage of going out is also bringing some things from India. Like we always complain about how psychology has not been like India is not represented in psychology. Psychology is all studied on American population. But then there are people, like in India, we don't have those resources to, we don't have those research fundings in the same way that universities here do. And yeah, I think that's my way of serving India and also bringing India's perspective abroad. Because I practiced in India, I became a psychologist in India first, worked there, um, and I'm able to bring a lot of that experience, and also will be able to bring a lot of experience from here back to India. So can we switch to practical clinical psychology after doing masters in counseling? Practicing clinical psychology? Oh, practicing clinical psychology. So the thing is, clinic to practice as a clinical psychologist, you need RCI licensing. I have made a video on this too with someone who is RCI licensed psychologist, like a clinical psychologist. So that requires you to have, I believe. So I mean, I would recommend you post this question on that video, and maybe she could answer better than me because she's done that. But um, to practice as a clinical psychologist, you need to have our MPhil at least. So but with just a master's in counseling, you can practice also. So Yeah. Which continent has better education system, Europe or America? I hmm, I don't know honestly. I think both of them have their own advantages. Like Europe has, I think, a faster way of getting through. PhD programs are shorter than America. But again, personally, like I feel like knowing people who, I mean, there's more talk about multiculturalism in America. I feel like, yeah, it's a more diverse population. To me personally, I was pretty clear that I didn't want to go to Europe for that reason. But obviously, because I'm in the stream of psychology, if you're doing something like engineering, then I've heard a lot of people prefer Europe over America. So it depends on lots of factors. Which is better in general is not an answer. It's like which is better for you as a person and your education and your interests. So I would look at that. Um, can I switch to research sector after doing BA in psych? Yeah. I think I have seen some people do that. In America, that's so much of an option. People do BA and then they work in a research lab and they do a lot of research. But I mean, India has a fewer opportunities. Like I know Monk Prayogshala is one that offers opportunities to do research. Again, I don't know if it's like how many students get the opportunity and things like that. So I wish it was better, but you can try to look into it. Not a lot of students that I know have looked into it, but if you're interested, yeah, definitely try to look into what places give you opportunities. I've known people who go to IIT, do research just to do research, work under someone. I have known someone who is doing research in psychology in AIMS. So there are opportunities out there. You just have to look at it. Let me see. Um, for commerce field students, Europe is better or America is better. I mean, I want to do MBA abroad. I don't know anybody. I know people who've done MBA in America, but I don't know anybody who's done MBA in Europe. So I won't be able to answer for Europe, but I've heard that in America MBA is gives a really good opportunity for job. And but again, in America job is based on the lottery system, so there's no guarantee of getting a work permit after you finish MBA. Mm, yeah. Yeah, but I've known a lot of people do MBA here and they're pretty happy. Okay, what do you prefer, best college or best course? 100% I prefer course because um, I course is something that will stay with me for the rest of. Unfortunately, in India, if you choose, yeah, if you, for example, to become a psychologist, you need to have bachelor's in psychology. Now things are changing a little bit, but still fewer opportunities if you don't have psychology throughout. So for me, because the course stays with you for the rest of your life, that is what matters to me more. Although overall for your mental well-being and for your overall growth, a better college is also very important. So depends, but like I personally would choose a better. I personally would choose course over college. After BE, what all opportunities do we have? It's a good question. A lot of people I know after BA, I mean, depends. Some colleges like St. Xavier's have a placement from the university and they get really good opportunities, very good pay in companies like McKinsey. And so BA in economics and you get placed in a good place, BA in political science and again you get placed, or BA in psychology and I've seen people get placed in advertisement companies, things like that. So uh, depends also on the college. And otherwise, I mean, with BA you can do lots of jobs, but and the reality is if you want specialized jobs, then there are better opportunities after doing MA. Yeah. Oh, BA in psychology. Yeah, so BA in psychology will not help you get a job in psychology specifically, because to be a psychologist you need to have at least MA. So if you want to do something psych related, then you'll have fewer options in BA. Maybe you might just be hired in an advertisement company, or that's what I'm aware of. I know people who've done BA in psychology and then ended up becoming a teacher or doing social work or something like that. So if you want to do psychology in practice in psychology counseling, then you need at least masters. How to earn money and be financially independent during medical being like medical student in India because you had not skills. That is true. That's a very good question. I have a friend who's doing, she did MBBS and now she's now doing MD from India. And I could ask her. Unfortunately, you're right. I mean, uh, at a later level, you can even get a stipend, I think, at MD level. But I have to ask, how do you guys manage? Because I understand not everybody has resources and parents who can pay for it. So I'm not very sure of being able to answer that question. I'm sorry, but I don't know. And yeah, I know in medical school, it's like you may not even have a lot of time to do internships. So I have to ask that to a friend. How much time does it take to get USA student visa as well as admission successfully? Yeah, that depends. A lot of these questions are very depends. Like in my situation, I got like a expedite appointment, which means like a because of COVID there was a huge backlog, so I got an appointment almost very immediately. I was allowed to request an expedite appointment 60 days before my college starts. So I applied, and almost by the end, like the minute I got an appointment date 1 month before, I think 1 month before. No, actually, not 1 month before. I got it very few days before I had my flight, I think. And then got my passport immediately. So, generally, I would recommend starting the visa process early enough. Start applying at least 3 months before, like filling the forms and everything. So, you get everything done in time. Do psychologists earn good initially and after both? Yeah, I mean, it's hard to get a job it's competitive to get a job, but once you get a job, I think psychologists are earning decent now with the amount of need. And once you have like a good hands-on practice, you can become a private practitioner and make a good, like, you won't die hungry. But again, it's very competitive. Not everybody, I know a lot of students who graduated with me, and it's not the same for each person. So with psychology, unfortunately, in India, our education system also scares us so much that they're like, oh my god, now you can't practice, now you can't practice. And then a lot of people after graduating feel like, I can't practice. I'm gonna make a whole video on this, but it depends on so many factors. But definitely, I feel like if you're good, I thought I had a pretty good decent life. um, I do BSc Bio. Can I switch in psychology after doing? Yeah, I've made a video on can you do a master's in psychology without a bachelor's? So you can watch that video. What exams to give for BSc? I mean, you have lesser options to apply for master's, but there are some master's programs which now are taking you people without BA. What exams do I have to give for BSc psychology honors? Again, BSc psychology is not my field. It's done more in the south, so I have to ask someone who's done that. How to become a clinical psychologist? Isn't necessary to do PhD or MPhil. Yep. MPhil is compulsory. I mean, not compulsory. If you want to if you want to have your own practice, then it's compulsory. If you're working under the supervision of somebody else, then it's not. But like, technically, yeah, if you want to practice on your own, it is compulsory. And I've made a video on this too. Just put my name and put clinical psychology, and I have a clinical psychologist with me on that. Wait, I can just try to pull it up. I have a clinical psychologist who has made this video. So because a lot of people have been asking this question, let me just post it. And she is brilliant on okay, clinical. Yeah, because there are two videos. One is on the difference between MA in clinical and counseling, and one is on clinical, how to become a clinical psychologist. So there it is. Oh, I should have written clinical in the. Yes, her name is Raksha and she's brilliant. So I am going to post it in the chat. So this one is on how to become a clinical psychologist, a licensed. clinical psychologist. Okay. How are you doing, Pranti? I'm good. How are you? Muhammad, memorization techniques. I have a video on that too, which has some really, they're called mnemonics, Mnemonics. And this video I made long ago, but I personally use that a lot. I have two videos. Grammarly has saved me. Oops, sorry. So I'm gonna post it in the chat for memorization. This is one, and there was another one. Yeah, so these techniques, and I would also say there are things like with regards to sleep, and I could do like a whole workshop or something like a free live seminar on memorization techniques. So okay, I can't find the other one. Oh, here, these are some other memorization techniques. Okay, let me see some other questions now. Someone on YouTube who takes therapy session, I don't know. I would definitely recommend Prafulta, because I personally know a lot of my professors work there as a psychologist, so they have some really good psychologists. How do students earn money abroad? They are, depends. In my someone who's like me, who's doing a PhD, they get funded through the university. Someone who's doing bachelor's, master's has like a permission to work 20 hours a week, so they do any other job outside. So like some people work at McDonald's, some people might do something else. Depends on. So at a bachelor's level, you may not have the opportunity to do a lot of other things, but you could do something like tutoring, also proctoring, tutoring. um, yeah, that's how students make money. One very good way to make money, depending on what level you are, is what I've learned is to do students to go to become like RA. RA, I think, is a research assistant or something, or I don't know what is R. I don't know what it stands for, but RA in a dorm. So you get to live for free, and then you get paid to just be like this person sitting on the counter and seeing who's coming in and not coming in and things like that, and like being on the counter. So it pays you money, and at the same time you get free living. So I think finding out opportunities like that, because if you're just earning alone, then that's difficult. How do we increase our expertise as counselors? That's a very good question. I think it's a good combination of reading and practicing both. Some psychologists just think they don't need to read, or like some students wanting to be psychologists think they don't need to read and just start practicing. Some think only reading. I think it's a good combination of both. And again, I believe that I don't, my personal philosophy is we cannot be expert on the person, just in the process. Not expert, but like at least good in the process. You've taken admission for BA Psych honors. Many were against it, but I convinced somehow. Oh, my decision is right now because I have to prove myself. Oh, I'm sorry. That's your experience. I know a lot of students have that experience in India, unfortunately, where we have to constantly. When I did a BA, I had a similar experience. The only difference was that my father and my family were supportive, but like extended family, everybody else. And then automatically they'll assume, oh, this person is doing a BA, oh, and then someone else is doing a science like BSc. Oh, I always knew that that child was smarter. And even though like that child is getting 30% less marks than me, and I would automatically be claimed to be like a dumb student. And I was passionate about it and I knew it. I knew what I was doing. And eventually, when it came to getting a job, it was at par with someone from a good engineering college. So, depending on how passionate you are, I think it's fine. You and sometimes you don't need to prove to other people. Just work hard, love what you're doing, be passionate, and results will follow. You just do your action, results will follow. How to manage isolation as a student? Good questions. It's a very good question. I would need to know more to be able to give a better answer, but I think One thing is that a lot of it's challenging to be isolated, but at the same time very useful too. Like we have those different in Indian philosophy, there are different phases of life. One is the brahmacharya, one is the grihast. So the first stage is going in a school, university, outside, away from home, family, just focusing on your studies. So as a student, I think that's a great time that you might have, probably the only time that you might have in your life where you're with your academics. And it can be a very isolating and a lonely journey. In fact, one of the Nobel Prize winners in chemistry, this not I don't know if this year, but very young professor, said that he said his journey was very isolating because his thoughts were also, like, he was alone in his thoughts. People wouldn't agree, and that can be very scary. I would say things like going to a therapy definitely helps, but at the same time, managing and knowing your purpose in the end, and knowing that this is not a permanent phase of life, it's going to pass. I think that helps with that isolation piece. And also trying to make some community. I know that this Yeah, I know that it may not be possible for many students, may not be possible in many situations. And so if you don't have opportunities for that, that's fine. I would do other things like write, be creative, do music, do things that you like, and yeah, fall in love with what you're doing and knowing that this is just a phase of life. Winter and Christmas are around the corner. Would be chilly weather in the USA? It is. Generally, there is ice all the time. I mean, ice, not ice, snow, all the time. Let me see if I can. Yeah, right now I can see a little bit. Oops. Yeah, I can see a little bit. Mm, there. It's a little snowy, but it's cleared out a lot. So, few days ago it was crazy. It was snowing a lot. So, it is chilly, and I think the temperature outside yesterday was -9. So, yeah, it's cold. But the good thing about that sounds scary in India, because in India we don't have central heating. In America, everywhere everything is centrally heated. So, it's cold outside, at home it feels like it's the same. Okay. What's the difference between solitude and loneliness? I love to be in that alone zone. Solitude is more peaceful, and which can be found in the lap of mountains, forests, and in nature. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I think solitude is some is can be a choice, and loneliness to me, you know, that too can be a choice. Sometimes people have, but want to be lonely, but Ah, it's complex. Loneliness could be for a lot of reasons. One is you may not have the opportunity to connect a lot with others, or maybe you're, for a lot of students, children, they're raised in a certain way where they may be harmed, or like there may be some things that prevent people from being able to trust other people in a lot of ways. So I don't blame people who feel lonely, or I empathize with them a lot, because yeah, I mean, I work with clients, and all the time I'm aware of how loneliness manifests and why it manifests. Sometimes it's just a function, it helps someone feel more protected, and sometimes it could be isolation. Some people were, yeah, it depends. There are so many different things, it can't be generalized, but I see solitude more as like a privilege. Sometimes, you know, as long as you have like a good, healthy, development, and a lot of things. Yeah. Um. Let me see. Whom to consult about what? I think my internet connection is loose. Is that how it is? Okay. I need to check if my internet connection is working. I think it is working. Can someone text? I mean, put it in the chat if you can hear me. Okay, I'll assume that people can. So I'm assuming that people can hear me. If there's an interruption, let me know. Okay, I don't know, where was I? Whom to consult to know about what's going on mentally? Who to diagnose mental issues? Psychologist or psychiatrist? I think again, what's going on mentally, I personally prefer going to a psychologist first, because psychologists are also trained in giving a diagnosis. In India, specifically, clinical psychologists do more of that. But yeah, I would first go to a psychologist, especially if it's something that, because not everything has to be treated with medication. And if it's like to that level where it's an extreme, then I would, it's not manageable and it needs medication immediately. It's too much pain. That's my personal opinion, but it could be different for different people. Can you become a neuroscientist? To become a neuroscientist, you need to do a lot more after bachelor's in psychology. You need to do Ph.D in neuroscience, or depends what do you want to do. Yeah. Okay, let me just go a little up because there are so many of these questions that I may have missed. So I'm just going to quickly glance. Uh, Ma'am, you worked in India as counseling psychologist? I did. I worked in India in different places. I did. 19-year-old girl, and you want to talk to me? Oh, I'm sorry. I just saw this. Like I said, I'm unfortunately not taking a lot of, but I mean, I connect with students here, and I don't charge for this, but once in a while, I also offer, like, students who write to me on studentsconnectwithme@gmail.com. And if someone just wants to speak about their career or something, they just want to talk about something that, like studying abroad or something, I do talk to them. I give like a few minutes slot whenever I have time between lectures, and I speak with someone. But because of the time difference, I'm not able to do a lot of that. Some psychology BE colleges. Okay, this, let me see. Disorganized attachment. Sorry, I was just getting a call. Oh, rehabilitated. I mean, any style of attachments I think can be worked through. So, um, yeah. It's not like a permanent. Definitely it does show up in different relationships, future relationships, but it does. Yeah, it can be worked on. There's a concept called resilience in positive psychology, which is the ordinary magic, the ability to bounce back. So no matter how bad childhood experiences you may have had, there is still a possibility of being able to grow up and learn to live. Okay, okay. So there are so many questions. I might not be able to see all of them. In case if I missed an important question, you can just paste it again. I went upstairs. Um, do you watch football? No, I don't watch. Sorry. I was an archer, so I do archery. So I don't watch football and cricket and these famous sports. I watch archery. What? Let me see. Oh my gosh. Okay, lots of new questions. Okay, let me see. Uh, Yeah, Radhe, 15-20K is, yeah, that was like an extreme case. I don't think, but even there are some part-time jobs which give 15,000, and other people, like in psychologists, and then they do private practice or other ways of making more money. So part-time job could be, yeah. Come here. Yeah, I will come to India soon, hopefully. Okay, seeing clients. Unfortunately, I'm in America, and I right now, and focus your energy on anything particular. Why is that? That's been missing an emptiness. Okay, that's a good question. I would explore more with somebody if you have so um speaking with someone like a mentor also. But um probably there is, I mean, a meaning in life that, sometimes you feel like, why am I doing this? What's it for? Like what people call the existential crisis. Why is this world? Why am I doing? It's important to pause and then reflect more on that feeling and think of what is missing, what is empty, what are you looking for? Are you focusing on your energy on one task because you want to focus it on one task, or are you trying to distract yourself from something else that you're feeling? Maybe you're distracting yourself from what you're feeling at that point. So I think of like self reflection, writing it down. What is this? Pausing. Wait, what is this empty feeling? Why is this empty? And reflecting on it and working through it. I mean, this would be so well done in, working with a therapist. It doesn't always have to be mental disorders. It can be something like navigating existential questions. Is there a relationship between psychology and neuroscience? Yeah, I mean, there is neuropsychology. It's a course that I took last year. Fascinating. So, but neuroscience, I mean, depends on what you like more. If you just want to study how the brain functions, neuroscience is what a lot of students do. My friend's wife is um, doing a PhD in neuroscience, so that's what they do. In my case, yeah, I have some people who are doing in the counseling psychology program trying to do neuropsychology. I also know someone in the clinical psychology program wanting to do neuropsychology. So what they do is, um, so a lot of the things in the brain cannot be, they need to be understood. I mean, how do you test that? Sometimes you need to ask some questions to someone to find out which part of their brain is doing what. Like if there is a left brain damage in a certain section of the brain, what is the question that you would like to ask them to know that this is what's happening? And for that, you need language, you need to use psychology, you need to know what to ask them. And a lot of the neuropsychology people do more of that related work to find out those things, as compared to just like, pathways or just the brain study. It's like human and how we interact with our brain. So that's where it's a very beautiful mix of neuropsychology and yeah, one example that I'm thinking of can be of a, yeah, like if you go on YouTube and see Phineas Gage and his example, and a lot of his behavior changed. There was a metal rod that had passed through his, yeah, it went through his changes in behavior. And sometimes these things need to be studied from the psychology aspect. It can't just be studied from the brain aspect, right? You can study the brain and be like, okay, this part is damaged, but how does it manifest in behavior? And so that helps you know more about brain parts and behavior. And that's where neuropsychology comes in. Neuroscience, on the other hand, is like looking more at the brain. I hope that answers your question. I'm not an expert with this. I'm not doing neuro. I mean, I just took a course on it and I love neuropsychology. I'm fascinated by it, but it's not something that I'm pursuing. Okay. You want to go towards research in psychology? There's a cognitive psychology course also in IIT. Okay. So I'm going to take a last few questions in the next 5 minutes if there's someone. Yeah. Okay. If you don't know what you want to do in your life, what to do then? I love that question. Um, it's okay to not know what you want to do in life. And sometimes what I do is knowing what I don't want to do for sure. That helps me definitely. So I don't know what I might want to do, but I know that I don't want to do this, right? So I make that list, and to know, I mean, knowing can come through doing. So when you start doing something, it's okay to start exploring something and see if you like it. Notice it. Are you liking it because you like it, or are you liking it because society likes it, your parents like it, others like it, or maybe you're trying to prove a point? I think having a good relationship with yourself. There are some very good career theories, and like the self directed search is a test, a career guidance test, which has like lots of things to fill out. lots of forms. So these things can also help you, like it can help you know what you like and what, yeah, to find like a good fit. And at the same time, I mean, I know a lot of resources are not available in the same way in India as America. And how I personally navigated, because I didn't have access to counselors and resources like this, and I did was my father helped me do that, was build that relationship with yourself and ask yourself, what is it, notice, take time to notice what you're liking, what you're not liking. And you, I mean, some people are like, how do I find my passion, because you see someone who's like, oh my god, I'm so passionate about this. How do you find your passion? Is find it, like go search for it, do different things, and you might eventually discover. And ask yourself, why am I liking this? Am I liking this, or am I dreading this? And then, for example, I'm very passionate about psychology, but does it mean that I have to like literally everything about psychology? Maybe no, there are some things that I'm not very excited about, and that's fine. So recognizing that despite this, and I know that I need to get these things done to be able to be a psychologist, and that's fine. So knowing, I mean, knowing the difference between the two. So one is when you're passionate about something, you want to do it, you want to work on it, you, yeah. So my long answer short is, try doing different things and notice what you're liking, not liking. How do you imagine, and why you're doing it? If you're liking something, why do you like it? Is it because it looks cool, or, yeah, or is it because you find some meaning in it, or it has some personal significance to you? Is the demand for male psychologists increasing or decreasing? I personally think it's increasing, because I barely know any psychologists, and I have so many people like, can I get a male counselor's number? And I'm like, I don't know many. So I think you should be always tough on your mind. If you can't do something, force yourself to do it. I don't think it's wrong. People say it's worse to do this. I mean, it's like love what you do and do what you love. Sometimes you need to love what you do because you have to do it, and also do what you love. So find that out, and to force yourself, I mean, not to the extent that you spend the rest of your life and your career forcing yourself to like something that doesn't help. Then you dread each day of your life, but finding out what you like helps. Namaste, ma'am. What might be the reason while sleeping? Also, my mind chatters a lot. When I wake, I feel tired. That's also a good question. From what I read in meditation techniques, is whenever you're about to go to sleep, then tell your mind, when you close your eyes, just say nothing is important right now. Focus on your body, focus on each parts of your body, and do a countdown from 100. So start from 100, focus on your forehead, 99, 98, focus on your eyes, cheeks. You need to tell yourself that nothing is important right now. And as soon as your mind starts diverting to your thoughts, bring it back to your body, to your breath, to different parts of your body. And if it's hard to concentrate, use your hand, like touch yourself in those parts of your body, and bring your focus to your body, and that helps you sleep better. You're worried that I might not get our job opportunities because I'm a male. Oh, no, I think, hmm, I think it's, hmm, I don't think so. I mean, in my company, we were desperately looking for a male and never found anybody good enough. So if you're good, I think it's going to be good. Yeah. Let me see. Yeah, I hope, Arsh, that you're also able to do like what you do, and also able to do what you like. Have you visited Mississippi Museum? No, I haven't. Okay. Okay, I will try these things. Hmm. I need to learn to drive first, so I'm gonna do that soon, and then I'm gonna explore. I'm a little worried that I might not get job up. Oh, yeah, okay, I read this. Let me see. Pradeep, I'm sorry, I just said I'm not taking, I don't take clients when I'm here. But I would recommend Prafulta. So if you know someone who wants to, then I would definitely recommend that you go there. My sister's thinking of doing her BA in psychology from Xavier. She wanted to know if a second language like Hindi or French. Oh yeah, I've answered this. Okay. Mm. Oh, you're into research. Oh yeah, no. For male and female won't matter for research at all. Um, yeah, for sure. I mean, I know a person who's a male and did uh, I think a master's in cognitive psychology research, like doing a lot of research from IIT Gandhinagar, I think. So, yeah. Prafulta is, you can just Google it, Prafulta Mumbai. At least I know there. I wish I knew more people to recommend. That's good. I mean, Arsh, I would, yeah, what I did personally was also when I was in Xavier's, we had only 24 seats in third year psychology and we had so many people competing. And I decided that I focused on it. And like, when people were thinking, if I don't get into those 24 seats, I might do this, I might do that. For me, I didn't keep a second option. I was like, I have to make it work. And I worked on it. Although, like, obviously, if it wouldn't have worked out, I was totally mentally prepared to go to a different college and do psychology. But I hear what you're saying. Yeah. Yeah. I know I need to go to these places in America. I have not seen a lot of places. So, um, yeah, it's my pleasure, Himanshu. Yeah, I'm happy. I really enjoyed the questions you asked, and I'm glad that it was helpful to you. How can I memorize? Okay. I posted two videos on this channel. Did you see? I'll tell you again. I have two videos on memorization techniques in which I give a personal example of how I memorize. So, I have done with my MA psychology in distance online mode, and now having preparing for net JRF. I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you some memorization tricks after I answer one question. Even want to do PhD, so am I good to go? Yeah, you're good to go. Um, all the best for your preparations. Psychology is the only subject in this world that is interesting and also would help a lot of people. So I thought I might as well earn good sum of money, but I had self doubts. Oh, no, I mean, it is a good field, and if you're passionate about it, I think I have seen successful people, but also I've seen people who don't feel confident, and that's something you can work on in your own individual therapy or by yourself through mentors or self reflection and things like that. Okay, memorization tricks, and that's what I'm going to end with. um okay, so memorization techniques depends on, for number I have uploaded, just put memorization, and I have some tips for memorization. I have two videos on my channel. One thing I'm going to tell you, some general things is, so sleep, jelly, how to make jelly. So when you buy a jelly mix, you put it in water, you mix it, you put it in hot water and you mix it, and then you leave it, don't touch it for 6 hours, and then it consolidates, so it becomes jelly automatically. It's like dahi. You bring milk, put little lime in milk, and then cover it, leave it for some hours. If you keep opening and checking it, it's disturbing. So memory is like that. When you need breaks, sometimes what people do is they try to cram too many things up together. I would say sit for 20 minutes, take a 2 minute break. Sit for another 20 minutes, take a 2 minute break. Or sit for 45 minutes, take a 5 minute break. Taking breaks, short breaks is important. Sleeping, very important. Sleeping helps you consolidate your memory in your brain. What I used to do is when I had to had, so how to remember, I have some techniques of creating like acronyms and different things, and these are by experts. They're called mnemonics, so they are on the videos. But once I would try to remember all of those things, I would just sleep after that, and then next day morning I would open my book and be able to revise that, and it was ready. Right, another thing that I tell a lot of students, I do career counseling here in America as my assistantship. So what I tell my students here all the time is that it's like, if you've ever washed a vessel, when you eat something and if you immediately wash it, you can clean it in 30 seconds. But example, if you ate dal and you left it overnight, Now that dal is going to stick and dry in that vessel, and then when you try to wash it, it's going to be very hard to wash it. So memory is like that. Whenever you finish a class, just take 3 minutes after class to pause and flip through the pages, and that helps you. It's like washing the vessel immediately. That helps you keep your things in your brain immediately at that point. And then it's fine, go do your next thing. You know, it can be unrealistic to expect that you might just sorry yeah unrealistic to expect that you might spend, like, if you spend 60 minutes in a class, you'll spend 60 minutes revising it. That's not required. At least flip through the places and pages and let your mind know that this is what I've just read. And that's like immediate, at least putting water in the vessel so that it doesn't dry up. Do those things and then use acronyms. Like, one of the techniques that I used was, it's a mnemonic technique, very well researched. It's like, if you're studying history and if you remember different phases of World War. So I would think of my routine. I wake up in the morning, I brush the teeth, my mom gives me my dabba, I leave the house, I go down, I see watchman uncle, I go out, take a bus, see the bus driver, get down, see the watchman at the college, go inside. So I know these systems. I think it's called the peg and hook. So I remember, like, the first thing that happened in the World War, it's like when I'm brushing my teeth, it's like armaments. Like, I collected a lot of guns and my brush is like a gun. Then the next step is mom giving me dabba. So what is that? Maybe that is um, a treaty or like an invitation from one country to another. And that's how you can remember. Or there are like ways of just making chunks, short chunks, and just remembering the acronym. And all of these are very detail listed in a lot of detail in the videos that I had shared. Okay. Oh, okay. My name is Azra. I'm a girl. I'm 19. Please remember me. You're my inspiration. That's cute. I will always remember that. I am from Nepal. Can you suggest me best college in India to pursue my career in BSc in psychology? I'm going to make a video with someone in BSc, but I have made a video on BSc versus BA in psychology, and that's where you can get some hint of a good BSc college and what to look for. Oh, okay, improviser. Yes. You've applied for my PhD in 2023 intake. Oh, cool! Congrats. Which subject is it? Psychology or? Mm, yeah. And what tips do you want? I was supposed to end the session because I have a meeting soon. Um, how to love what you do if you choose something. If you've already chosen something and it's like you're telling me that you have to force to love them. Um, yeah. Huh, because some things are required to get somewhere. So I think knowing what you want. Um, Let me know if you just want to meet over a Zoom, maybe next week or something. And we could just meet for 20 minutes. And yeah, I mean, I don't charge anything. Just, I think you have a lot of questions and it would help. So send me an email on this email. I'm just putting it in the comments. I try to give some time to students. Okay. Yeah, both Akshaya and Himanshu. I mean, just meet with me on Zoom and talk about it. Personally, I think that might be more helpful. So I can know more about your questions and know how, and just help you prepare better. It's all about improvise, adapt, overcome in life, as my favorite actor Farhan Akhtar said in Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara. कर्म करना हमारे हाथों में है, कामयाबी नाकामयाबी सब ऊपर वालों के हाथों में. Yeah, that is कर्मण्येवाधिकारस्ते मा फलेषु कदाचन मा कर्म फल हेतुर्भूमाते संगोस्तो कर्मणि from Bhagavad Gita, which is the only thing in your hand is your actions. You're a CA interested in pursuing counseling psychology. Interesting. Depends if you want to start practicing. A master's at least, from like a master's in counseling psychology would be helpful. If you want to do clinical, then that requires MPhil too. So important to. And I have made a video on both, and I've already sent the link previously, but I can send it again. Let me just. It's with uh, it's with a licensed psychologist, Raksha, who has given some great information on even like ignore clinical psychology. And I also have a video on how to become a psychologist, step by step guide. You might have to watch a combination of 2-3 videos to see. Uh, yeah, you can ask me a question related to your career over email. And if you just, I mean, I do meet with students on Zoom once in a while just to check in with them, and it's free. So, I mean, it's just voluntary. I was helped by a lot of people, and I'm just happy to meet with some students if they want to. But obviously, I can't promise that I will be able to meet literally everybody. Um, but I try my best. Okay, I hope this was helpful. Thank you all for joining, and I'll try to do this more often. And I'll let you know whenever next time that I can come online. Someone's saying I'm so happy today. You answer me 2 to 3 times. Thank you. That's so sweet. I am going to remember you. Okay. Um, Yeah, by Nitesh, I would just say when you're focusing on study, write it down, do something physically. That'll help you. That helps much more with distraction. Because when you're just reading, your mind can wander. It's very normal. So I physically write things down and get it done. So yeah, that's the last question for today. I hope you all have a great day, and it's time for you, a lot of you, to sleep.